if you import third world into your first world country, then the first world country will turn into a third world country. Diversity is not a strength.
Don't bring your culture, your fighting, your antagonisms here. Come and have your culture, but don't impose it on us.
What is the Canadian identity? I think some of that is definitely like a culture clash.
What does it mean to be Canadian? What does it mean to be American? Is it hockey and maple syrup? Is it football and baseball? Camping trips, barbecues, weekends outdoors? Or is it something deeper? Trust, freedom, and the idea that everyone can belong. And here's the real debate. With mass immigration reshaping our demographics, are we enriching our societies or slowly eroding the very freedoms, traditions, and values that make Canada and the US unique? Politeness, healthcare, hockey, barbecues, camping, patriotism, equality. These are part of the national cultural fabric where people trust each other, women walk freely, LGBTQ communities thrive, and neighbors help neighbors.
What's the most Canadian thing that you do for fun? Go to the lake with friends for fun. That's like a hangout activity for us.
Enjoy poutine. That feels the most Canadian. I used to be a big skier. Anything winter feels really Canada coded.
Drink.
That's so honest of you. Yeah, drink.
Making an igloo out in the winter.
I eat pancakes for breakfast.
When immigration happens gradually, integration works. When it happens too quickly, it can overwhelm healthcare, schools, housing, and even the culture itself.
Do you think Canada and the US is taking in too many immigrants at once?
I definitely seen like a decrease over the past couple of years. Before, like even with the immigration, I think that was pretty cool to see new people coming, but also having less. It's been different change.
There's just too many, too fast.
I wouldn't say too many because it's a free country. I would say no, I don't think so.
Not necessarily. I feel like everyone deserves a chance.
No, not really. Well, when the topic of immigration comes up, there's a tendency on some people to like focus on the people coming here rather than like the real like meat and potatoes of what the issue is.
Probably it wasn't as well planned as it should have been. I think anybody can come to Canada as long as they're Canadian. Don't bring your culture, your fighting, your antagonisms here. If you're coming to Canada, accept that we want to live together. We want to take care of each other. Come and have your culture, but don't impose it on us and don't do anything that is in opposition to a Canadian culture.
I only say that the government accept too many foreign people, but it's just to giving them a different opportunity to find something else better in a different country, right?
Yes, I came here as an international student 2 years back. It's pretty good here, the education and the system and the rules, whatever they create. But nowadays it's getting worse. That's what I heard. But personally, I don't agree with that.
In the past, Canada has opened its borders to letting the best of immigration come in. That was a part to boost the economies, but to make the place better and more suitable living place. But now they've just opened the borders and they just let people come through. If you import third world into your first world country, then the first world country will turn into a third world country. And the whole point of keeping Canada a great place, healthy, great, like clean, is about making sure it's actually for Canadians. In the next 50 years, this isn't going to be Canada anymore. I mean, you've had millions and millions and millions of Indians come in from India, and then they bring their families coming in, and then they just don't have any respect for the place. They don't care, they don't respect the culture, the tradition, the values, and it's just sickening to see it. As somebody who is born and raised in Canada, I have a lot of respect and patriotism. I don't want my kids to feel like a minority in what has been brought up by white Canadians that have come here from Europe and brought this place up. Diversity is not a strength. You divide and you make things diverse, people clash. I don't think that's something that should be pushed for in Canada.
Societies only function when neighbors share values. But rapid inflows to Canada can create isolated enclaves. And that trust, the very backbone of North America, can end up eroding.
Do you think newcomers should adapt to this like outdoor lifestyle that we have, like learn about camping, hiking, and sports?
I think it's pretty fun. I think it's fun to take advantage of because there's a lot of like things that you can do on the weekends.
Not necessarily outdoorsy, but I think if they don't get out into the Canadian countryside, I think they're missing a lot.
In Europe, we've seen cultural clashes, harassment on the street, protests against pride, and even parallel schools. Do Canadians and Americans want those things here? Do you think that newcomers should try to adapt to Canadian lifestyle or like pledge to uphold Canadian values?
Yeah, you should probably try and like familiarize yourself with the locals. You should be able to like converse with your neighbors and stuff. You should at least get to know your community and like try to like blend in, be like a good member of your community. I think that's fine.
If we bring in minorities who are actually willing to contribute and looking for a better lifestyle here, they should be doing that. And if they aren't, then they shouldn't be here. Anybody coming into the country should maintain and hold respect for Canada and should treat it as it has been and conform themselves to our way of living instead of bringing it over here and kind of washing away our identity.
To any country, really, you should, because you're living here. But it's okay to like to learn, you know, like it takes time.
That depends. That's like a 50-50, right? Because eventually we need to adapt to the rules, but we need to still be ourselves, right? We need to take that arrivement from our countries. So it will be like a 50-50.
You know, to some degree I do. Growing up, we all spoke the same language, we all enjoyed the same culture, but when they went home, there were Muslim Trinidadians, Hindu Trinidadians, and so on and so forth, right? But the thing is, we put being a Trinidadian ahead of everything else, right? And I feel that would help integrate the society more.
Generations later, some immigrants still see themselves less as Canadians and Americans and more as diaspora warriors. That fuels suspicion, division, and resentment. There's of course the right to protest in Canada, and there's often protests about foreign affairs which they're not necessarily Canadian themselves. Should we keep this right to protest?
Yes, I believe it's part of a democratic society. It's getting destroyed in the States right now. It's the right of any democratic society to go out and protest. I'm not sure how much it accomplishes. At least the next best thing is protesting, right? And getting people's attention.
I think it definitely should be allowed because a lot of people here are formerly immigrants or their parents are immigrants. And I think a lot of these foreign affairs affect them. So I think it's like natural for them to want to protest for these things. Yes, definitely. Because we're a pretty privileged country. So if we could give a voice to other places that can't, then I think that's really great.
Well, as long as they're peaceful. The trouble with mobs is they can turn violent very quickly, or you can have people in the group that want it to turn violent. And that's where we have to be very, very careful.
I think that if it doesn't necessarily direct us and it's just to fill people's pockets, then it's not something that we should condone or allow as a country and a people.
Yeah, it's good to care about other people that you share the planet with.
And here's the question that no one wants to touch. What happens when white people become minorities in Canada and the US, as current demographic data is showing? Is it fair for them to feel afraid of immigration that lacks integration and fear that it may dismantle Canadian and American culture? Do you think it's fair for white Canadians to be afraid of becoming minorities?
I think that they should be afraid. I think that the media and outlets are making it seem like we're the ones who have to pick up the mess and take over the rug and make sure everybody else is flourishing and feeling safe and catered towards. But it's really not the case. We are the ones who have built this country. We are the ones who have lived in this country. We're the ones who have brought it from the ground up. And the spotlight's all on everybody else who isn't contributing, who isn't working jobs mostly, who doesn't really care about patriotism. It's gotten to a point where, like, I didn't even feel happy for Canada today. It's like it's been forgotten as in a country.
No, because realistically, they're not minorities because of the history and everything. Well, I brought my sons up in Richmond and I saw Richmond change. It became very Asian very quickly, and that's fine, except there was just too many too soon. That was right after 1987 Expo. We had an influx from China and they didn't speak the language. They didn't seem to be interested in assimilating and speaking to. Maybe they were scared, I don't know, but it just seemed to happen very quickly. Overnight in Richmond, Chinese stores with no English on it. I went into a Chinese store. I didn't know it was a grocery store, and I didn't know what was in the cans because that's all in Cantonese or Mandarin. I felt very foreign in that store. Hopefully they've changed now.
But not really. Like, I think it's fair to say that white Canadians still enjoy, like, the vast benefits, privilege, economic. I feel like so much of this kind of goes back to, like, should people, like, coming here, like, try to, like, integrate with the group? Because, like, I used to be in Surrey, which has a large, like, Indian, Southeast Asian population. And it's a scary time if you go on some of the subreddits for Surrey. You can see some comments. Not great. Like, pretty objectively racist. I think some of that is definitely like a culture clash. People are going to come into your area really not much you can do about that, so you should try to extend the same.
North America values liberty, but newcomers often come from societies with different views of freedom. For example, nature bans. The recent bans on hiking and camping in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick hit nature-loving Canadians hard. For many Canadians, camping in the outdoors aren't just hobbies. It's actually part of their culture. Losing that freedom kind of felt like an attack on their way of life. Another example, the COVID-19 mandates. The people resisting COVID lockdowns were primarily white Canadians and Americans. Many immigrants coming from more authoritarian countries were quicker to comply or embrace the mandates. That divide raises the question, if new immigrants don't believe in the same concept of freedom, rights, and liberty, will the very cultural fabric of North America change forever?
Do you think that immigrants coming from more authoritarian countries understand the value of freedom that we hold in Canada?
Yes and no. I knew somebody who was from Iran, and here in Canada, she felt, an ability to be free, have a career, to do whatever she wanted, right? Whereas in some countries, that's not the case.
We shouldn't just open the floodgates, though, for people who are trying to seek refuge. Instead, they should be doing the things over there to kind of make sure that government changes and gives them those freedoms.
I would understand not at the start. There's probably a lot of changes that they might see in their everyday life.
Probably not to the extent that we might. But I imagine there's like a spectrum between the people that have left because they really want those freedoms. They think they do understand it. And then probably like people on the other end that because they've lived in a country maybe that's more authoritarian, maybe that's just kind of what they expect.
If they don't, it's because we have not told them. There's not enough support to show them how things work.
Yes, immigration enriches, but it also may risk eroding trust, importing tribal politics, and clashing with freedoms. The big question, can Canada and the US remain societies of camping trips, hockey games, football Sundays, barbecues, equality, and liberty? Or are we all just watching the slow unraveling of that whole identity? What does being Canadian mean to you?
For me, it's the same thing about being from any other country. It's about sticking for your country and your people, not anybody else's, and making sure that you do your part to make sure that the place that we Canadians live in is the best place that it can look.
Drinking?
Yeah, I was just about to say it again. Really messed up. That's, yeah.
I'm Native, so I guess it does mean a lot to me in Canada. Yeah, sense the history and everything.
It means living in a very liberal, all-inclusive, for the most part, very peaceful society. And Canadians hold those values very, very highly. No gun violence, no mass shootings and things like that. It's a beautiful place to live in.
If I'm being honest, that will be like a privilege because we have more opportunities than other people. I will say that will be like a plus for us.
Pray to the local Tim Hortons 3 to 5 times a week. God bless Canada.
Everything. I'm very happy that I was born and brought up in post-war England. It was quite different. But coming to Canada, first day I arrived, I fell in love with it. I mean, I love Canada. I really feel that anybody that gangs and things like that, they really let the country down because we're nice people.
Well, I'm proud to be a Canadian. I'm glad I live in Canada and not in the States. Freedom. I came from India, an orthodox, like typical small village kind of town. Here it's a lot more like freedom, like we can do what we want. And the safety for women. We can walk through the roads anytime. We are safe.
It's kind of like a lot of things. It's like being really diverse in a lot of different ways. Everyone's from everywhere and you get to meet so many different cultures. But it's also like the outdoor life and the nature here is really beautiful. And yeah, I feel like it's just everything put together.
And like showing kindness to everyone, right? Meeting new people and like just spending time with them.
The Canadian politeness. That's a big one. And is mass immigration enriching us or slowly eroding? Do you think that Canadian identity is under threat?
Okay, yeah. I mean, these kind of things I think are always kind of under threat. I think given some recent world events, I hope maybe people are starting to see that like some of these democratic values, they're not a given. And they can be taken away. It does take work. You gotta protect the system or people can come in and then just start messing the whole thing up.
What is the Canadian identity?
I know.
It can change. If people are coming into the country and immigrants are coming into the country, well, the identity will change. But I think it changes for the better because I find it really gives a nice mosaic and everything to the society.
I think it's being close to being washed away. And I think it's sad, especially with Justin Trudeau. I think that there are foreign or hidden companies or groups that kind of want to wash away Canadian identities, and as well as identities from other places like the States and in Europe as well, that are trying to make it more so like consumer, like just we'll give you this and you give me your money, instead of actually looking at what stays true. So it's just very sad. I think that now more people like me who want to stand up for their own people and not let other foreign peoples and races come in and just take over Canada are kind of coming to surface. And I think that that gives me hope for the future.
So, what does it really mean to be Canadian or American? Are we defined by our traditions, our freedoms, or by our ability to adapt and change? And is mass immigration enriching us or slowly eroding the freedoms and values that made these nations exceptional? Tell us your opinion in the comments. Thanks for watching Maple Life, and until next time, stay curious.